Which has happened before, to be quite honest. Hey, there it is. We did it. We made it. Somehow, I'm not sure how. But welcome everybody to TIMBP Live. It's another Thursday evening. I'm so happy to be hanging out with you all here tonight. Got a very, very fun show planned for you all this evening. If you're new, if you're watching replay, hello, I'm Perry. I'm the host of This My Bourbon podcast. Welcome to the YouTube channel. Please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, like the video, all that good stuff. As we are not yet over the 1,000 subscriber mark here on the channel, we do have an alternative way of donating to the show. And that is through what we call Snuffy Chats. It's in support of our main man, Mr. Snuffleupagus, back here, who is right behind me over my left shoulder on the right side of your screen, and also in support of my my little daughter, who eventually is going to have to go to college and maybe get braces one day too. So I'm going to pop up where all of that can be found. Here we go. All the links below on the bottom of your screen. PayPal, Venmo, Square, there's also all listed below in your description for the video. Okay, enough admin up top. I'm tired of being the only one talking. I'm super, super excited to be welcoming in some good friends of the show, longtime friends of the show, even before the show even started, for crying out loud. The guys from the SpeakEasy Wisconsin. Guys, first of all, I'm really excited to get into this Jack Daniel's single barrel proof pick with you all, but also welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
You're very welcome. So we've got to my left, Mr. Jeff Schwartz, also known as Whiskey Fellow, who writes whiskey reviews online. I actually was able to do some design work for you and got your logo out, which
that
is
logo
on that
right
blank
there.
there, right? As well. To my south, sixth, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, Mr. Troy McCusey. Troy, how are you, buddy?
Doing all right. Thank you.
Good to see you. And in the bottom right-hand corner, I don't even have like good directions for it other than just, saying where he is in a relation to me, is Steve Schwartzer. Steve, I have never met you before, so it's nice to meet you.
I'm the quiet one.
He's the heart and soul.
That's only because you drove for basically half a day. So, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to everybody who's here in the chat. Brian Brennicky, Diana Webb, Donnie Linux Cat, our Blue Wrench for the evening, of course, Mr. Barn Door, Daniel Kerber, Heather Starkey, Nick Foles, and Swan, the man himself. Thank you all so much for being here. So let's I'm at the moment warming up with some of the new Maker's Mark, the FAE 01, which I just picked up tonight. Let me tell you, it's really freaking good.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. I think they did a great job with this release. Let's talk for a second about the Speakeasy, how that kind of got started, and then we'll move into talking about Grumbled Men as well.
Well, the Speakeasy is basically something that I started as a way for me and some friends I grew up with, now that we've all spread out, to kind of keep in contact. A buddy of mine, Scott, started this group that I mimicked called the Motorhead Debate Society. So whenever we'd see something cool about a car, we'd throw it out there and we'd start talking about it. And it's just a handful of guys. And then I started thinking, well, I don't know if we all had interest in, either beer or bourbon or scotch. So I thought, this might not be the right place to do that. So I'll just start something up and, kind of for fun. And it just started growing. And, I invited a few more people, then they invited more people. And we got, Steve was on there right away. Jeff was on there really early. And here we are.
Awesome. Jeff, how did you kind of get involved with this as well?
I don't quite remember is the problem. I think I got an invitation to join, but it's been a couple of years. And
so I can actually tell you that I knew that you were friends with Liz Henry.
Oh, yeah.
Jay Henry.
Oh,
yeah. And I was, at the beginning, I was really big into trying to get all the latest news scoops and throwing them up there. And somehow you came across my feed, Jeff, and you had scooped me on something. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so I sent Liz a message and I said, "Who is this guy?" And she's like, "Oh, he would be a great addition to the Speakeasy. You should definitely add him."
Oh yeah, Liz and I go back to the beginning. I believe I was the first reviewer to ever review J. Henry and Sons.
Wow. Quick side note. Our techno man over here, Donnie, says Troy's mic keeps hitting his hoodie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll adjust.
I was wondering what the noise was, but that's all. It's all good, man. Hey, we got the Grease from the podcast stopping in.
Grease!
Hello. He says
Dude.
Troy is beautiful.
Hey, I appreciate that, Grease, but let's face it, Jeff is the eye candy of the group.
Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Also, where is this comment? I just saw it. Donnie also said, "Hi guys, I'm in the Facebook group. Great to meet y'all." So
Good to meet you too.
Hey, Donnie.
That's Donnie
Yeah.
Webb over
Hey,
there.
Donnie.
Hey, Donnie.
Howdy, Donnie.
Howdy, indeed. Jeff needs major work, is what Grease just said.
You know, here's what I always say to something like that. A body like this doesn't happen overnight. This is years and years of abuse and neglect.
Almost dedication.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's you've got to really stick with it.
All it really took for me was 12 months of a pandemic where I wasn't really going outside and exercising or seeing people or going to the gym or, finding ways to feel better about myself. But yeah, I get it. I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
Well,
So,
you having a
weird feeling.
with
Go ahead.
the addition to your family too. I mean, you got the dad
I do.
bod
Yeah,
now.
that is. I was developing the dad bod. I mean, the entire time that she was developing the womb as well. So in many ways, lots of parents, like, they go through the big steps of like, oh, we got to get the nursery ready. We got to baby proof the house. We got to make sure there's no diapers. For me, my getting ready was actually looking like a dad. So I got gray hair a little bit now. I'm not even 28 yet, and I got some gray hair. And I put on plenty of weight to where I feel like, yeah, I'm going to have to grunt every time I sit down or stand up. So, my preparation went swimmingly because I achieved all the goals that I didn't set out for myself to achieve, but they still landed. I still, in many ways, I can feel like, accomplished something.
Yeah, nailed it.
Well, my understanding is women find the dad bod irresistible. So here.
I've not been told that yet. I'll confirm that with my own wife later. See if that's the case. Anyway, let's get into talking about grumpy old men. Let's talk about this Jack Daniel's single barrel proof pick, which anytime that you guys come out with a pick where I'm like, oh, I gotta have some of that. Like, that sounds pretty awesome. I'll just send Troy a message and I'll be like, hey man, what up? What's good? He's like, I'll take care of you. It's no big deal.
Yeah,
So
I was happy to help.
Yeah, and I really do appreciate it. And it got here in what I can only describe as record time. Because I mean, you sent it out on Monday?
Monday, you got it
yesterday morning.
Yeah.
I mean, before I had my first work break, it got delivered to me. And I got all giddy and excited about it. And I'm like, I'm gonna crack this thing. I'm gonna crack this thing at lunch. And if it isn't one of the most unique and truly, truly well-rounded Jack Daniel's single barrel proof picks I've ever had, it just, I told Troy yesterday, I think it drinks like a Booker's. I don't think it drinks very on profile for Jack Daniel's, but you guys, of course, picked this during the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, we've had a little bit of a chance to discuss what picks have become during COVID. What was the picking experience like for you guys with this one?
Well, it was basically done by Zoom. Dan over at Neil's Liquor got the samples arranged for it. We were very fortunate to be able to get this because we are the only. I think this is the only barrel-proof Jack Daniels in the area this year. So, like southern Wisconsin, yeah. And basically, he got the samples. Then each one of us went and poured our own out of that, what he had, and then we all retreated back to our houses and in the safety of our, hopefully COVID-free places. And we just set up a Zoom and we just tasted and went through it. A buddy of mine was also included on the pick, Ty Krugman, who has been a lifelong Jack Daniels collector. So I had to get him on this one. And it's how we've actually been this year. We've done a few picks now, doing it by Zoom. It's not as fun, but it's still, we seem to be managing.
It's not as rushed. You can take your time. If you get a little tipsy, it's no big deal because you're not driving anywhere.
Yeah, I sat at my bar for it, and by the end of that pick, I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah, they're heavy hitters for sure. They're all the samples were. This one actually prior to bottling was 129 point something, and the other two were over 130.
Oh snap! So this one actually went up.
It went up a little bit, yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, it aged another couple months, and
I was just about to ask what the turnaround was for Jack Daniel's picks, because some places I don't think they do this anymore, but Jim Beam with like a Knob Creek pick, it used to be that you'd go in, you'd pick it, and they would bottle it all in the same day, and so what you wound up with in your bottle by the time it actually got to the store, by the time it actually got to your group, was the exact same thing that you had, unless they had to, proof it down however much. So, so about 2 months of a turnaround for Jack Daniels?
Oh, I think it was more like 4 months.
Yeah, it was longer.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oof. Man.
I can't remember the date, but yeah, I think it was probably back in November, wasn't it? I thought so.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all a COVID blur.
I just can't believe it's March again.
See, we've got our great sticker on this.
We do. So
yeah, that is
say
Steve
something
on there.
Oh, look at that! It is.
Yeah, it's Steve and
I had a little thicker beard back then. It was my COVID look.
You also look grumpier.
What were you about to say, Jeff?
I said he also looks grumpier.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is true. That is true. But so first and foremost, I don't know how, but I don't know if you can tell or not. My sticker bubbled somehow. I don't know how that happened.
Troy.
But like
installers.
We didn't install it.
No,
did I install that one?
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I got it in the mail, and I opened the box up, and I was like, "What's this piece of paper falling out?" It was a sticker. I was like, I got a sticker my own bottle. I mean, that was pretty cool. I wasn't upset about it by any means.
Well, we did that because while we were looking at this, generally there's a mad rush to sticker before anybody comes in and buys.
Right.
And we were really concerned that we would tear the box, pulling the bottles out and putting them back in.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a great point.
Yeah, so we just decided to put the stickers underneath the top flap, and a little bonus, they can do a little work. The official line is that they were the grumpy old men were too grumpy to apply the stickers, so you have to do it yourself.
It's all about world building. Yeah, exactly. Donnie said Grumpy Old Men was the sequel. I'd love to see a follow-up barrel pick too to this one. It's actually called Grumpier Old Men. But Chris, who is one of our resident Australian listeners and friends of the show, always loved catching up with Jeff Arnett, the old master distiller Jack, whenever we were over. So I'll speak to this right now too, and of course, this isn't anything that's really going to be too noticeable with Jack Daniels for the next few years. But I'm not really much of a seasoned Jack drinker. And it really wasn't until recently that I, of course, started getting into the single barrel proofs, because that's what everybody was saying. Oh, this is the Jack Daniels product to go out and get. And sure as heck, it absolutely is. But what do you guys feel like? And Jeff can probably speak to this quite a bit as well. How are you feeling about the future of Jack Daniels with their new master distiller over there?
You know, it's the short answer to that is time will tell. But you know, it's like when Brent Elliott took over for Jim Rutledge over at Four Roses. You know, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Well, time's told, and he's done well. And I think this situation will be the same thing. But I'm switching gears back to what you were saying. I'm almost exactly like you on Jack Daniels. Not a fan.
Yeah.
You know, it's Old Number 7. Okay. I'll add Coke to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the single barrel picks have been just incredible. And I've had a few before, and I've been ashamed to say that I'm not a fan of Jack Daniels, because you get into this level and it's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't drink regular Jack. Just
No.
well, there's a part of it too, and Chad Perkins and I talk about this a lot. It's like something ingrained in me as like a Kentucky boy. It was like, I don't know, man. I think I'd rather have Jim Beam white label. Like, just not sure that I can stomach that much Tennessee water.
I actually used to drink quite a bit of Jack. I started my bourbon drinking about 30 years ago with Wild Turkey, and then I actually went to Jack Daniels for a while in my college years, and I enjoyed it. But I'll tell you, there's nothing like what these picks have been lately. The one that we did, and I tried another rye pick, single barrel, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, they're doing a great job with what they're putting out product wise. So
I've got to find the single barrel proof rye. I've got to find a bottle of it. I think I might be past the point where it's feasible, but it's just killing me that I haven't gotten to try it yet.
Yeah, the only place around here that I know that you can still get it is a store that routinely, overprices by about double. So
I knew you were going to say that. Even like slightly before you started speaking, I was like, he's going to say they can find it, but it's twice the price.
Right. Yeah.
But it normally is. Donnie said Kentucky Prejudice. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's just how it goes. And Clifton asked, I haven't seen by the way, Clifton from Bourbon Bites is here. He's live with a Rock Gut review after us. And then he's going live on his own channel after he's done there.
Awesome.
So I love going and hanging out with Clifton. He's got a great show. He likes to incorporate video games into what he does as well, which I'm a huge fan of. So everybody here knows who he is in the chat at the very least. But he said, I haven't seen a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof pick in a while. Did they stop or limit them during COVID? I honestly don't know. I mean, I guess they didn't stop them altogether because we're drinking one, but
well, I don't
know.
I know that 2 years ago, at least where we are, it was really easy to get a barrel proof pick if you wanted to do it. They hadn't. That was right before they had really caught on, and I don't know if it coincides with COVID or if it's just that since people have caught on, they've decided to allocate it. But like I said, this was the only one in southern Wisconsin that is out there. So
yeah,
something definitely changed.
Yeah, I mean, I've not really. I mean, come to that, I don't know if I've seen more than one single barrel proof pick in Kentucky. Or in Lexington, at the very least. I mean, I don't really do much hunting outside of Lexington right now. But,
Yeah, but do you guys even acknowledge Jack Daniels?
Absolutely, we do. I mean, here's the thing about it, and I can go on and on about how it's like, yeah, and joke honestly for the most part. It's like, oh,
Of course,
I drink Jack Daniels, but
of course,
like, I am fully aware. I think most of us are fully, those who are, cognizant of the industry. I am fully aware of how important Jack Daniels is to the industry, how important it is to people's drinking history and growing up drinking. Not really a phrase I thought I was going to say today, but here we are. And I do respect it. I'm never going to get to the point where I'm like, ew, Jack Daniels. Who's ever going to drink Jack Daniels? That's disgusting. That's just the worst. But yeah, I mean, like I do prefer to, if I had Greg's, I would go for Jim Beam White Label over Jack Daniels Old Number 7. That's just, I mean, that's purely just, my own preference. But, Nick Foles revisiting ECBP A120. They let me down with this one.
Oh,
I quite liked A121. Jeff, did you review it yet?
I've not had it.
I just bought it and I haven't opened it yet. Now I'll have to see.
I really liked it. I thought it was good. I thought that this year's Larceny Barrel Proof 2, the A batch, was leaps and bounds better than anything they put out with Larceny Barrel Proof last year.
really?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny too. Now that people are, of course, trying to find the ways to replace the Weller in their collection or on their bar cart. Is Bentley getting in trouble over there, Troy?
No, Brett is my son.
Even better.
Try to cover it.
You're good, man. You're good. But I kind of lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Oh, sorry.
We were talking about
the Weller replacements. I think that Heaven Hill has done a great job stepping up their game with the Larceny Barrel Proofs, and Maker's Mark has been, I think, like the best most improved distillery over the past couple of years as well. I think that their limited releases that have been coming out since, I guess it was 2019. Was that shoot? They need to come up with a better name for this daggum release series. It's all just weird, random letters and numbers. But anyway, I like this question from Eric. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say sorry. We do these Zooms on Wednesday evenings in the group, and a hot topic always is almost our disappointment with Maker's Mark, in that we know that they don't need to. They've got they're selling all the bourbon that they want, but kind of seems like that's a distillery that they could put out a 10-year product. An age-stated 10-year product. It'd be a wheated mash bill. Do it at barrel proof. Everybody would go nuts over it. It would be sort of, like something that would draw more interest. Instead, a lot of us are like, well, it's probably better, the different staves, but it's kind of a shortcut, it's viewed as.
That's true.
I would like to see them. Yeah.
Donnie said Maker's Mark Private Select and yearly special releases are absolutely awesome. I mean, I will attest to that. I've not had I don't think I've had a bad Maker's Private Select release. I've just had ones that are better than others. Honestly.
That's how I feel about the Elijah Craig barrel proofs. I mean, I don't think I've had a bad one, regardless of when it was. It's just some are a little bit different than others.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. Swan clarified the nomenclature of some of these. RC6, SE4 times PR5 or XPR5. I don't freaking know. And FAE01. How does that make sense to anybody? That's just, it's impossible to remember unless you're just.
Are those the staves that they used, or?
Yes, they are. Or they're supposed to be. I don't.
So what you do is you take the square root of the first one, and
I haven't done that much math in a long time.
Well, that's why you don't understand it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I graduated.
I was told
with an
there
arts
would be no
degree,
math
so.
tonight.
Yeah, it was in your runner before I brought you into the or writer. That's what that is. I wanted to go back to a question that Eric Black brought up. What are your favorite small distilleries? I think this would be interesting too to talk about for even some local Wisconsin distilleries for you guys.
I'll go first since Troy's thinking about it.
Visible thought.
I have fallen in love with J. Henry and Sons, and
yeah,
it's they keep getting better. They put out a quality product. They've got strict standards. We've done a pick with them, and in fact, that was our first pick for the SpeakEasy. And it's consistently good. It's different. Every batch is different, but it's consistently good, especially the Patton Road Reserve.
Love the Patton Road, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. I think we're pretty fortunate in where we are right now in Wisconsin because J. Henry's fantastic. Dancing Goat is making a push. Twisted Path has a great rye that they're putting out. Driftless Glen, they're outstanding. Their rye is outstanding.
Yes,
and,
agreed.
Wollersheim's getting into the bourbon and rye. In fact, we just recently did a pick, and you can probably tell I liked it.
Couldn't tell at all.
I would probably have to. I'd be right there with Jeff on J. Henry. Probably is if I had to pick a favorite, it would be my favorite. But I'll tell you, I wasn't a big fan of Driftless Glen at first, even when we were there doing our pick. But lately, I've been loving it, and it's just I don't know what my palate changed or what came around, but I've been liking that more and more. And then Dancing Goat having. I like their limousine rye. And it's just, we're very fortunate to have such good distillers in such a small local area. So
we are, and Dancing Goat just came out with their 6-year, and it's a step above. It really is. But yeah, I mean, Driftless Glen does an amazing job with rye. I don't know what their secret is, but they are putting out some really killer barrels.
Yeah.
Nathaniel over at McFarland Liquor he picked a rye that it is just chocolate covered cherries. It's amazing.
Oh, I've had that one.
That's awesome. Eric Black said, "Love Driftless Glen Rye. Have any of you had Tomfoolery from Ohio?"
I have.
Yeah, I've had the. What's the finish that they do? Isn't it like maple syrup bears or something like that? I can't remember.
I've got a bottled in bond from them.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I picked it up 4 or 5 years ago, and still enjoying it. It's extraordinarily different. But one of the things I love about Tomfoolery is they do things differently.
Yeah.
Where'd you have the time to mess around with that Tomfoolery, Jeff? Wasn't that a saying, an old saying?
Yeah.
Tomfoolery. Yeah.
We're not as old as you, but yeah.
Hey, live on air, Wollersheim Bottle Kill.
Hey, there you go.
No chug, huh?
Cheers. That was the most energy we're going to see out of you all night, Steve, I think. Just a very muted. Hey.
As the old guy, I tend to fall asleep. So
that's the grumpy old man.
There was a moment a little while ago. I don't know if anybody else caught it, but you kind of cocked your head to one side and had a look on your face like you might have fallen asleep for a hot second. So I don't know if that was you taking a little power nap in the middle of the stream or what, but you seem to have kind of rallied a bit. Since then.
Sometimes the system just shuts down at my age.
You got to get somebody to bring the key out and wind you back up.
The whole what's that?
Yeah.
Who did that?
I'll tell on my ad for a second. There was one time I think we were watching Inception with him. I was still in high school, still living at home, and my brother and I were like, you got to watch Inception. It's such a great movie. And I do still love Inception, but it is just a slog if you're not ready for the 2.5 hour commitment of that movie. And he's sitting on the couch. My brother and I both look over at him, and just it was almost like magic. Like we looked over at him, he up and went, "Merry Christmas," and we were like, and this was in like April or May. It was like just perfect, absolutely a perfect moment. But
that's awesome.
I was gonna say too about people who are doing things differently. I just got done recording an interview last night with. Okay, sorry, Dad just popped in. He said I slept through the entire movie twice. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Also, everybody say, "Hey, Papa Ritter."
Hey, Pop Ritter. I feel you,
Papa
man.
Ritter.
Howdy, Pop Ritter.
But I just got done recording an interview last night with Alan Bishop from Spirits of French Lick. And the big thing that we talked about, or one of the biggest takeaways with him, was that if you're going to do something that everybody is already doing, take your own spin on it. Do something really different. I mean, their 4-grain is corn, wheat, oats, and malted barley. Like, nobody's doing that. And people just are, they're going to get slapped around with because they weren't expecting it. So I agree with you. I think that people like tomfoolery should be doing something unique, something different. And Eric brought up, yes, maple finish tomfoolery is just husband and wife doing it, which I did not know.
I didn't know husbands and wives did it. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if you
he's
saw in my
waking
face,
up.
but I don't know if you saw in my face, but that kind of broke my brain for a second. I was like, where do I go from here? Eric Black, I love this question. If you had to choose one distillery to have for the rest of your life, which one would you go to?
Jeez.
That's a tough one. My problem is that I love so many different types of whiskeys.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go for something Scotch, something Irish, something American.
Should we just narrow it down and say what bourbon?
There we go. Let's say what bourbon distillery.
I am a huge Heaven Hill fanboy.
Amen. Amen.
Is
that you on Instagram? Who's sorry, Heaven Hill fanboy on Instagram.
No.
Go follow Heaven Hill fanboy. Good dude. It was a joke mostly, but yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think, but it would be hard for me to give up Wild Turkey. Turkey would be it would be a hard fight between those two.
That was my first love. So Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
There would be. Thankfully, we don't have to
probably
play this. It's
Yeah.
That is the depressing part of the what's your desert island bourbon is like. I mean, I don't really want to have to think about it. Like, we're enjoying the plethora of everything that's out there.
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing is there's plenty out there. I would hate to be limited by one.
Oh yeah, for sure. John, Wisconsin whiskey sipper Watson. That's because turkey is the best.
Oh, John.
Oh yeah. Hey John, how you doing?
I'm happy to see John in here too. I've gotten to meet him a couple of times, and he's awesome.
He's got a pick with us.
He's done well. He did one officially and one unofficially, but he was
did
with us. He's really jumped into the Scotch,
right? With you all.
He did. He did the first Russell's pick we did, and then he was essentially an unofficial participant in the second one we did as well.
Right. I think he sent me somebody sent me a sample of your all's Driftless Glen pick.
Which one?
John? Oh. Well, shoot.
We had a 51,
I
and
think
then we had a rye.
Was it Wicked Sensation?
Yes, it was Wicked Sensation.
That was the 51,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I think I sent you that one. Yeah,
I
that
think
was
you
the
did too.
51.
Actually, now that I think about it, Troy. But This is what happens. I get sent so many samples, and I don't do a good job taking notes. So I'm like, oh, how long I had a sample of the new Marianne Eves release? Clifton,
Sorry.
Heaven Hill fanboy here too. That would definitely be my choice. Lots of variety as well. I have to agree.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
have to agree. Do they have a? They don't have a high rye, do they?
You know, they all the contract distilling that everybody does. Who the hell knows? It's whoops, we lost Steve.
Oh, nope. There he is. He's back. He was gone for a second.
He's taking his no-dose.
My AirPods died.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
gotcha.
There we go. There you go. Diana
So
Webb.
Perry, kind of.
Sorry, go ahead, Troy. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was a
just
question
gonna-
from
I was
Diana.
gonna You read the question.
Thank you.
She's more.
What
important.
are Diana asked? What are your thoughts about Whiskey Acres Distillery from DeKalb, Illinois?
I've been there. They are very impressive as to what they are doing. They're another one that does things. They don't do the same thing as everybody else, which is very nice. Darn curious. They've got a blue popcorn bourbon, I believe. And
Okay.
just fascinated to find out what that tastes like. But great place, farm to glass. It's a nice operation.
Fantastic. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Troy. The heck were you going to ask me, man?
Sorry. Well, I was kind of going backtracking a little bit when we were talking about Jack Daniels, and when I kind of thought of this when we started talking about Wild Turkey. Do you think Jack Daniels suffers a little bit from the stigma that Wild Turkey does? When you're younger, you grew up on it, you kind of got sick on it, and then you kind of when you revisit it 10 years later, you're thinking, well, that's just it's Jack Daniels. It's nothing I want to drink.
Yeah, here's where I kind of fall with Jack Daniels versus Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey has that low point of entry that a distillery like Jack Daniels have. So they both have really low proof products that people can kind of jump on board with, whether it's the 81 or the old number 7. But what's different, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Wild Turkey has a really good middle of the road product in 101 that can either bring people back or just get people interested in the brand in general, right? And from there you go to your Russell's Reserves, your Kentucky Spirits. There's I feel like more accessible points of entry with Wild Turkey as opposed to Jack Daniels. And I know that there's Gentleman Jack, but I don't think that has the same kind of push behind it that something like 101 does. Am I off with that?
Right.
With that assertion, or do you guys agree with me?
I would probably equate Gentleman Jack more to Long Branch.
Oh, for sure,
But,
for sure.
I think you're probably
absolutely,
yeah.
But
I think you're probably right. I mean, especially in I'm not that familiar with Jack Daniels as I am with other the history of other distilleries. How long has Jack been doing the single barrels? 10 years ago, I didn't know they had anything other than just old number 7.
Yeah, of course. Well, I didn't either because I was 17.
But I knew that. But I knew that there were a lot of different Wild Turkey products out there.
Well, I think too that the Russell's brand is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for Wild Turkey in getting people to either again, come back to it or to just discover turkey for the first time. And that is just because it doesn't get marketed as a wild turkey product. It's Russell's Reserve, you know? And it's, I mean, the first time I had it, I didn't know it was wild turkey. I only bought it because it was the same age as Henry McKenna Single Barrel was. And I wanted to see which one I liked better. I mean, that's the honest truth.
Sure.
Like, I was like, but this one's 90 proof where the other one's 100. And I was like, I'll try it. But the thing is, like, now I'm just happy that Russell's 10-year is even out there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just happy. Go ahead.
Did you just come up with the slogan for wild turkey? Come back to it for the first time?
Oh, well.
Oh, look at that.
You just came up with a slogan, Perry.
I like that better than
you better trademark that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give my buddy Matt a call, and that's what I call him.
Write
Matt.
that down.
Yeah, I got him on speed dial, and instead of real but no apologies, it'll be come back for the first time.
I like it.
I like it.
I was talking about.
All right.
I love of somebody like that. Sounded like you were trying to cast Matthew McConaughey in a movie, like somebody to play Matthew McConaughey in a movie, and they'd never heard of him before, and they come into to read, and they're like, all right, if you could read in 3 on page 6 for us, please. There you go. All right. Yeah, they're just like, yeah, guy, I don't think that's what we're looking for here. You can go ahead and send in the next guy. That reminds me, did you guys ever watch Arrested Development?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So Steve gets it. That episode where Tobias is going in for the fire sale ad, and he thinks he's auditioning for a scene in a movie where there's an actual fire.
Yeah.
And so he just goes in and he's like rolling all over the floor, like singing Amazing Grace and like pretending like he's in a house that's on fire. And like he goes, "Oh my God, there's a fire sale." And it's just one of the best scenes. So anyway,
David Cross was awesome in that.
David Cross is just awesome in general, man. Yeah. I love him a lot. But I just think that I don't know if Jack Daniels will ever get to the point where people kind of come back around to it in the way that some do with Wild Turkey. But I do still think that, like just about any brand, there are diehard fans of Jack Daniels, no matter what product it is that they're drinking. You know, I mean, same with Jim Beam, same with Wild Turkey, I guess. But I mean, like it's. Everybody has their own devoted fan base. I've yet to truly meet anybody who's just an avid, diehard, devoted Jack Daniels drinker. But
you know, it's the #1 selling bourbon in the world. It has been for years. It's got to have fans. Mm-hmm. It can't just be bar and restaurant driven.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. Part of me wants to agree with you at face value on that, but the other part is going, but is that because Jack is treated as a convenience, right? I mean, they're more often than not, people going in and buying it in handles more than they are 750s or fifths or whatever the heck you want to call it. But the point here is, like, are they using it more as utility? Or are they truly doing it out of a passion for the brand?
So you're talking about kind of like Denny's. People don't go to Denny's; they end up at Denny's, right? Is that what you're trading it to?
Holy crap!
Boom.
Denny's is the vehicle for the after effects of Denny's, much like Jack Daniels is the vehicle for where you're trying to get by the end of the night. So I'll allow it. I'll get on board with that. But
so, by the way, this is Perry's new. This is his intro to every show going on from this point. You just don't wind up at Denny's.
Welcome back, everybody, to this
No,
My
that-
Bourbon
actually, that's how you
podcast.
should-
You don't go here; you just end up here.
Yeah, there you go. Or you could finish each show with that. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know, one neat thing, Perry, about this pick that we did was this was the first time when I've done a pick with Troy and Jeff that we actually all unanimously agreed.
Yep.
Now, just saying that, this did sell out in 4 hours. Maybe if you guys would have agreed with my other picks, they would have sold out in 4 hours too. I'm just saying, just trying to put it out there.
What was the yield on this one?
180 bottles.
80.
Yeah, and there was a limit of 2 bottles per person.
Wow. Dad, how the F did I get to Denny's? He also said most of the drinkers of Jack are in the lower and deep south. I don't know if I fully agree with that. What do you guys think?
I have no clue.
I don't know if it's the number one.
I'll tell you, it's Jack and Jim Beam are all over Europe too. When I've been over to Europe, so there's besides the United States, you got to remember it's international. So
That is true.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
That
If you go to Beam, you can see them packing up the big 4-gallon bottles to go overseas that they don't sell here.
Just a
Lots of
real
that
shame.
stuff.
Just a real shame. If they sold more products in varying sizes, I'd be happy. I'd find a way to like keg a giant 4-liter bottle.
It's called a barrel.
I can't afford that. I don't know what you're talking about. Eric Black, were these 180 bottles sold in a store or in a group?
In a store.
In a store. We basically had a release date that we had informed the group, and they showed up. Everybody seemed pretty excited, so that was
I'd say
pretty rewarding.
Lined up in the parking lot.
Yeah.
This kind of is making me feel bad. I hope I didn't like steal a bottle from anybody.
Well, but you're a member, so you got to get your share.
That's true. I'm just not in. I'm not in the Midwest. I'm in the half South. Eric Smith, what snack cake do y'all prefer with your barrel proof Jack Daniels?
I'm
know
also
it's- I know if only you had a nickel for every time somebody asked you this question. I know it's the old
Right.
adage.
So
What's
I'll
that?
say Little Debbie's zebra cakes.
So here's the reason that Eric asked this. He's Whiskey Mutant on social media, on Instagram. And excuse me. He went through, I think it was like at the beginning of the year, which bourbon would go best with the Eric. I'm gonna mess it up. Save me, Eric. You're my only hope. What was the snack cake? Pad for time. Somebody.
ho ho.
No. Thanks.
I'm going to get in so much trouble.
Oh, it was the fudge round. It was the fudge round. There we go. It was the fudge round. Okay.
Yeah.
And Jack Daniel's single barrel proof was what went out. So I mean, I've not done my own research into it, but Eric was very diligent and very scientific. Almost said scientifical for some reason. But he did a great job. Did a great job with it. And my dad says, "Ding dongs, man, ding dongs."
I'll tell you what, back when I could eat the best stuff were those chocolate covered peanut butter wafer things they had.
Oh,
I could eat those by the box.
I love those, man. I love those, but I hate when like they would just kind of get a little bit too melty because there's no going back from that. There's no, it just turns into a big mess.
That's why you put them in the freezer.
Yeah, but I don't have a freezer in 5th grade, Jeff. Like
The hell's wrong with you? Were you poor?
No, I'm talking about at school, man.
Oh,
The food's sitting in my locker all day.
Teacher's lounge.
Nutter Butters, thank you.
love Nutter Butters.
Wait, hold on. New riff, man, new riff. This is Ian, our resident New Riff fan. He said, "Who likes New Riff?"
Well,
I love
we
New
might
Riff.
actually, we might actually be sampling some of that for a potential barrel pick. In
Oh,
a few
really?
months. Yeah,
That's awesome. That I need to get you guys some of our Riffmas story pick that we did because it's
oh, that'd be awesome.
A1. Yeah. Nick Foles, Cosmic Brownies are the shiz night. I hope I don't get flagged on YouTube for saying that.
We'll get cut off mid-show here.
Yeah, right. So we are actually within the last few minutes of the show. So I want to talk a little bit more in depth about this Jack Daniels pick about Grumpy Old Men. I really enjoy this. I think it's just incredibly complex. It doesn't drink like any Jack Daniels single barrel proof that I've had before. How did this one fare? I mean, of course it won, but what was it about this one that beat out the other samples that you all had?
For me, it was exactly what you said. It's completely off profile. And that's something that everybody's going to roll their eyes when I say this. That's something that is really attractive to me when I do a pick. I want something off profile. If I'm going to get something that tastes exactly like anything else, I might as well just buy the standard release.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And that's something that we had a big debate over too when we picked Riffmas was, do we want one of these barrels that just tastes like every other New Riff bottle that's out there, or do we want to really go off profile and try to do something unique? And I mean, I think it pays off in the end. And yeah, I mean, there is something to be said about just picking the absolute best product that you are presented with. But when given the opportunity, do something a little different. So,
well, and I think for me anyway, this one was, aside from being off profile, it was out of the samples we had, it was clearly the best. I mean,
by far.
If we got Steve on board, it was good. So,
but Steve, it sounds like you were the one that was kind of fighting for another sample as well, though, right? You're on mute, Steve.
Not on this pick. I normally am on other picks, but this one was just, it stood out. It was, and the other ones were very good, but this one just stood out. And I've been off sugar, seriously been off sugar. It wasn't just a joke on the cake thing. And this is just like a sweet dessert to me. And when you think about the proof of it and how it tastes, I couldn't wait for this to come out and get bottled.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those picks.
And the fun part of this one is the longer you let it sit, this keeps changing. It does not. It's never the same sip twice. It's awesome.
No, and I think for me right now, what I'm getting more is the chocolate's still there, but it's settling a little bit, and the cherry is starting to become a little more prominent. And the burn is lightening up too, which is nice.
This is definitely a cherry bomb if you let it sit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight and talking about not just the speakeasy, not just talking about this pick, but also talked about Jack Daniels in general.
Thank you.
Had a lot of fun.
This was fun. Really appreciate it.
This was great.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you, Barry.
yeah, look forward to getting a chat with y'all again. Here in just a few minutes, of course, we're going to be headed over to the Rocket Review to see Clifton hanging out on that channel. And then Clifton's going to be going live here in about an hour as well on his own channel. So everybody go over and tune into that. And I think that does it for this week. We'll see you all next week for another TIMBP Live. But until then, I'm Perry, and this is my Bourbon Podcast YouTube channel. I still haven't figured out how I end these things off. I don't know. Anyway, bye, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.